Imagine you were at work. It is Saturday afternoon, March 25, 1911. You are a young woman, maybe 18, maybe 22, working at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory on the 9th floor of the Asch Building in New York City. You're an immigrant, Italian or Jewish. You came to America for a better life. And this job, sewing blouses in a garment factory, is how you survive. You work 6 days a week, 12-hour shifts. You earn between $7 and $12 a week. The room is packed. 500 workers crammed into 3 floors, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Rows and rows of sewing machines, piles of fabric everywhere, cotton scraps on the floor, tissue paper patterns hanging from the ceiling, wooden tables. The air smells like machine oil. It is 4:40 p.m., almost closing time, just 20 minutes left. You were tired, your back hurts from hunching over the sewing machine all day, your fingers are sore. But you were almost done, almost home, and then someone yells, "Fire!" You look up, flames spreading fast. The fabric scraps on the floor are burning, the tissue paper patterns catch, the wooden tables. Within seconds, the entire room is on fire. You run toward the exit, the door, the stairwell, the way out, but when you reach it, you pull the handle, and it does not open. You pull again, nothing. The door is locked from the outside. You scream, you pound on the door. Other women are behind you, pushing, shouting. The smoke is thick, you cannot breathe. You turn to the windows, 9th floor, 10 stories above the street. You look down, the ground is so far away. Fire behind you, concrete below. There is no third option. Some women jump. You hear them hit the pavement. You smell your dress starting to burn. This is not hypothetical. This happened. March 25, 1911. Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, New York City. 146 workers died, most of them young women, immigrants. They did not die because the building had no exits. The building had exits. They died because the factory owners locked the doors from the outside to prevent workers from taking unauthorized bathroom breaks, to stop them from stealing fabric, to control them. And here's what will make you furious. The owners, Blanck and Isaac Harris, were charged with manslaughter and acquitted. They walked free. The victims' families received $75 per death in settlements. The owners, they collected over $400 per casualty from their insurance company. They profited from the deaths. Welcome to If History Repeats. Today we go back to March 25, 1911, to the fire that killed 146 people in 18 minutes, the locked doors that turned a survivable accident into a massacre, and the owners who walked away free. And then we ask, if the same thing happened today, would it be any different? Or are workers still dying because someone decided that control and productivity matter more than human lives? Let's begin. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was owned by Blanck and Isaac Harris, 2 entrepreneurs who ran a profitable garment business making shirtwaists, a popular style of women's blouse. The factory was in the Asch Building at the corner of Washington Place and Green Street in Greenwich Village, Manhattan. It was a modern building, 10 stories, steel frame, fireproof construction. It should have been safe, but the workspace inside was a death trap. 500 workers worked in cramped conditions surrounded by flammable materials, cotton fabric, tissue paper, wooden tables and floors soaked in machine oil. Fabric scraps were allowed to pile up on the floor because cleaning took time, and time was money. There was one fire escape for the entire building. It was narrow, rusted, and ended at the 2nd floor, not the ground. The stairwell doors opened inward, which meant that in a panic, crowds of people pushing forward would trap themselves. And critically, the exit doors were locked from the outside during work hours. Why? To control the workers. Blanck and Harris did not trust their employees. They believed that if the doors were unlocked, workers would sneak out for breaks or steal scraps of fabric. So every day, supervisors locked the exit doors from the outside. The workers inside had no way to leave without permission. It was a fire waiting to happen, and factory inspectors knew it. They had warned Blanck and Harris repeatedly, But nothing changed, because fixing the problems cost money and profits mattered more. March 25, 1911, 4:40 p.m. A fire starts on the 8th floor. No one knows exactly how, and it does not matter. Within seconds, the flames spread. The fabric scraps ignite, the tissue paper, the wooden tables. The fire moves like a living thing, consuming everything. Workers on the 8th floor try to escape. Some make it to the stairwells. Some use the elevators. The elevator operators make trip after trip, saving dozens of people before the heat becomes unbearable and the elevators stop working. But many workers run to the exit doors and find them locked. On the 9th floor, workers do not even know there is a fire at first. There is no alarm system, no intercom, no warning. They only realize something is wrong when they see smoke rising through the floorboards. By the time they understand what is happening, the stairwells are already filled with smoke and flames. They run to the doors. Locked. They pound. They scream. No one comes. The fire is below them, climbing up. The heat is unbearable. The smoke is choking them. They turn to the windows. 9th floor, over 90 feet above the street. Outside, crowds gather. Firefighters arrive. They extend their ladders, but the ladders only reach the 6th floor. The water from their hoses cannot reach the 9th or 10th floors. They spread safety nets on the street, but when people jump from 90 feet up, the force is too much. The nets rip. Bodies hit the pavement. Witnesses describe hearing the thuds, seeing the blood. Firefighters weeping because there is nothing they can do. Some women try the fire escape. It is narrow, only one person wide. Dozens of people crowd onto it. The weight is too much. The fire escape collapses, sending women plummeting to the ground. Others stay at the windows, hoping for rescue that will not come. The fire is behind them. The heat is burning their dresses, their hair. They have seconds to decide, jump or burn. Many jump. Some hold hands as they fall. Some say prayers. 146 people die. 123 women and girls, 23 men, most of them between the ages of 16 and 23. People who came to America for safety and opportunity and died because their bosses locked the doors. The fire lasts 18 minutes. By the time it is over, the building is still standing. It was fireproof after all. But inside, bodies are piled at the locked doors, burned beyond recognition, crushed in the panic. On the street, more bodies. The city is in shock. Newspapers run front-page stories, photographs of the victims. The grief is overwhelming. Funerals fill the streets. 120,000 mourners march in a memorial procession. The city demands justice. The owners, Blanck and Isaac Harris, are charged with first and second-degree manslaughter. The trial begins. The prosecution argues that Blanck and Harris knowingly locked the doors, trapping workers inside, and that this directly caused the deaths. But the defense argues that the owners did not personally lock the doors, their supervisors did. And the law at the time required proof that the owners knew a specific door was locked at the exact moment of the fire. The jury deliberates and acquits them, not guilty. Blanck and Harris walk free. The families of the victims receive settlements, $75 per death. Blanck and Harris, they collect their insurance payout, $400 per casualty. They made money from the fire, more than they paid the victims' families. But the public outrage does not go away. The Triangle Fire becomes a turning point. New York creates the Factory Investigating Commission. Over the next 4 years, investigators inspect thousands of factories. They find the same problems everywhere. Locked doors, inadequate fire escapes, no sprinklers, flammable materials piled everywhere. The commission writes new laws. 36 labor laws pass in New York. Fire safety codes are completely rewritten. Buildings must have sprinklers, fire drills, unlocked exits. The reforms spread across the country. The Triangle Fire is credited with birthing modern workplace safety regulations. The International Ladies Garment Workers Union grows massively. Labor organizers use the fire as proof that workers need protection, that bosses cannot be trusted to put safety over profit. The Triangle Fire changes America, but it does not end the pattern. So here is the question. If the Triangle Fire happened today, in 2026, with all our labor laws, all our safety regulations, all our supposed worker protections, would it be any different? Would the owners go to jail? Would the workers survive? Or would the same thing happen? The answer should disturb you, because it already happened, again and again. November 24th, 2012, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Tazreen Fashion's factory. A fire breaks out. Workers try to escape, but the exit doors are locked from the outside. The factory owners locked them to prevent workers from leaving early or stealing fabric. 112 workers die, burned alive or crushed in the stairwells. The factory was making clothes for Walmart, Sears, and other Western brands. The owners never faced trial. April 24th, 2013, Savar, Bangladesh. Rana Plaza, an 8-story building housing multiple garment factories. The day before, workers noticed cracks in the walls. Engineers warned the building was unsafe, but the factory owners ordered workers back inside. They needed to meet production deadlines. Western brands needed their orders filled. At 8:57 a.m., the building collapses. 1,134 workers die. More than 2,500 are injured. It is the deadliest garment factory disaster in history. The building owner is convicted, but the Western companies who pressured the factories to meet impossible deadlines? No consequences. Same pattern. Workers in dangerous conditions, bosses prioritizing production over safety, exits locked or blocked. And when people die, the corporations at the top walk away. And it is not just in Bangladesh. In the United States, in 2026, with all our labor laws, Amazon warehouses have been cited for locking emergency exits, for blocking evacuation routes with merchandise, for disciplining workers who leave their stations even during fire alarms. In December 2021, a tornado hit an Amazon warehouse in Edwardsville, Illinois. 6 workers died. Survivors said they were not allowed to leave when tornado warnings were issued. They were told to keep working. Amazon denied this, but the pattern is clear. Productivity trumps safety. Meatpacking plants, poultry processing facilities, warehouses, factories. The same story repeats. Doors locked or blocked, workers unable to leave, managers prioritizing output over lives. And when disasters happen, the corporations settle quietly, pay small fines, change nothing. Because the calculation is simple. The cost of settlements and fines is less than the cost of slowing down production. Would the Triangle Fire be different today? No. The laws exist, but enforcement is weak. Corporations are larger and more powerful. They can afford better lawyers, and they have learned that it is easier to settle than to fix systemic problems. Workers today, especially immigrant workers, undocumented workers, gig workers, face the same choice the Triangle workers faced. Accept dangerous conditions or lose your job. Speak up and risk deportation. Complain and get fired. The power imbalance is the same. The locked doors are still there. They just look different. If you made it this far, thank you. In 1911, Blanck and Isaac Harris locked the doors to control their workers. 146 people burned to death. And today, over a century later, the same pattern continues. Locked doors, workers dying, bosses walking free. The Triangle Fire changed labor laws, but it did not change the calculation. Worker lives are worth less than corporate profits. Share this with someone who refuses to look away. Subscribe if you have not. Every episode of If History Repeats asks, what if it happened again? Next episode, Ireland, 1845. The Great Famine begins. 1 million people will starve to death over the next 7 years. But here's what will make you furious. Ireland was producing food, lots of it: wheat, oats, cattle, butter, eggs, enough to feed the population multiple times over, but it was all being exported to England. While Irish families starved in the streets, British landlords shipped Irish-grown food out of the country for profit, and the British government did nothing. They called it a natural disaster, a failure of the potato crop, but it was not natural. It was a policy decision. 1 million dead, not because there was no food, but because someone decided that profit mattered more than Irish lives. The famine that was not a famine, the starvation that was a choice, and the empire that let it happen. I am if history repeats, and history always has something to say.